Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So today I want to touch upon a topic I came across on Twitter X recently, and it pertains also to Duchess of Narsussex, I believe, losing her account, is pointing out all of the Nazi connections, modern day Nazi connections of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And this comes out clearly with the book by David A. Hughes. He has an Odyssey channel, highly recommend. I recently reposted an interview he did, and I linked in Twitter, where he's an expert in the rise and fall of Nazi Germany. He speaks German, and he studied it, got a PhD in this. And he wrote this book, Wall Street and the Nazis and Crimes of the Deep State, which he points out in his interview when he says Wall Street, the Nazis. He's not just talking about literally people on Wall Street. That's a euphemism he's using for all the parasitic elite, including, City of London and all the other, the globalists, basically, what I call the globalists, the international group of elite parasites, and which Harry is a part of. And what he does in this book is he points out, because he knows all about the rise and fall of Nazi Germany, he's pointing out that the same people, the same descendants who funded Hitler and Nazi Germany were the same people. They were the elites. Hitler was a creation of the globalists. They wanted to bring that tyranny in, and now they're trying to do it worldwide. And he points out they're using the exact same script. So basically what we're seeing nowadays with COVID and Hanta, whatever, is a Nazism 2.0 worldwide. And he goes through each of, in chapter 2, Echoes of the Third Reich. He talks about, everything that they did and are doing is the same as in Nazi Germany, from seizure of power, legislating totalitarianism, revolution from above, the attack on the middle class, I can't say this, a German word, Gleichstellung and Ausstellung, propaganda, health surveillance, euthanasia, eugenics, pseudoscientific legitimatations of the elite rule, hijacking consciousness, eco-politics, historical discontinuities, and his conclusions. So just to go through a couple of examples of what they're doing, which is exactly the same. For example, under seizure of power, the response to the COVID-19 pandemic has much in common with the birth of the Third Reich. For instance, you see parallels between the emergency legislations passed in 2020 involving the suspension of constitutional guarantees, etc. And he's saying that they also are using the same Nazi, tyranny with the climate hoax as well. And he points out that not National Socialism, or the Nazi Party, was born in reaction to threats of revolutions with the 1929 Wall Street crash and the Great Depression. So the National Socialist Project, so this is National Socialists, right? So socialists was a revolution. Harry and Meghan are always using socialist communist jargon with their marketing and their propaganda. So it's a top-down remaking of society to serve elite interests. So the attack on the middle class, the lockdowns where they closed down all the mom and pop businesses and only the big businesses were allowed to keep running in 2020. Hitler did the same thing. He attacked the middle class, and he points out about Schwab as well. Klaus Schwab not only comes across as a Nazi, he is a descendant of Nazis. He is a Nazi. They're all Nazis, Harry, him, and all the globalists there, it seems. And he talks about the legislation for, quote, compulsory cartels. In 1933, big business deemed too big to fail received substantial support from the state. just like here in 2020. Same thing happened in 1933. And Nazism promoted the most powerful German industrialists at the expense of the other classes. And it talks about Gleichstellung, a term with no equivalent in any other languages, which is loosely translated as Nazification or coordination or bringing it into line. So he points out that in Nazi Germany, they came out and brought in all these restrictions and oppressions, and people just went along with it, right? They claimed it was for health, and the same thing with 2020. People just went along with everything, the lockdowns, the masks, the social distancing. And yeah, he goes through all of this in more detail. I mean, I can't read everything, but health surveillance was in Nazi Germany as well as 2020. They had, in 1926, they were called health passports, containing hereditary information to be made compulsory in Germany. Health passports became a reality in the Third Reich, and by 1934, physicians would fill out a standardized form for every patient examination without the patient's knowledge, send it to the health office, where the results were transferred into index cards and collected centrally at the General Health Passport Archive. It contained data of a person's health, work suitability, etc., etc. So it's the same thing with the health passports that the World Health Organization is bringing in. It's the exact same thing they did in Nazi Germany. Euthanasia is a big one that you see everywhere, Canada, elsewhere, UK. The origins of Nazi genocide can be traced back to the euthanasia programs. Nazi extermination of Jews, gypsies, and homosexuals during the war years was foreshadowed by state-sanctioned sterilization and later mercy killings of people with disabilities. Life not worthy of life was the concept. And of course, we're seeing that again with the euthanasia programs, the maids, and elsewhere. And of course, he goes into the eugenics. The Gates family can be added. Were also, involved in the rise of Nazi Germany as well as now. Health professions were used for population control, management of dissent, and eugenics. And then Nazi legal historian claimed that almost all principles and concepts and distinctions of our law up to now are stamped the spirit of enlightenment, and they therefore require reshaping the basis of a new kind of thought and experience. The Nazis were notorious for grim medical experimentation on human beings without their consent. So again, without consent, right? That's the forcing, mandating of these mRNA injections. There was no consent. But now the difference is that there's transhumanism aspect involved in what they're doing with their experimentations on humanity without their consent, with the artificial acceleration of the nanotechnologies. So it's the same, but it's different. It's even worse now. Hijacking conscience. So the evilest aspect of Nazi propaganda was its ability to hijack conscience through the creation of a, quote, new moral order founded on a principle of enmity and exclusion. So getting people to snitch on each other was also a big part of Nazi Germany, and of course also in 2020. I remember that in New York they started a snitch line where you could tell on your neighbor if you saw him outside during the lockdowns. Same exact thing they did in Nazi Germany. An attempt to subvert morality was evident in COVID-19. Just the same. Yeah, conscience no longer served to safeguard individual moral integrity against inhumane demands. Instead, it became a means under which the attack by the strong against the weak. Well, anyways, his conclusion is the parallels between developments of the global political economy in the 2020s and the early political economy of Nazi Germany are extensive and alarming. There are far too many parallels across all areas of life for this to be a coincidence. Oh, he also brings up the Reichstag fire, right? So there was to get Hitler in power so that he could be a dictator and control everything, they had a false flag where they burned down their parliament. They called it, well, the same thing happened on January 6th. It was the same exact. So again, that was another copy from Nazi Germany to now. And I find it interesting that Prince Harry claimed that he knew January 6th was going to happen, because I suspect that Prince Harry came here to America because he wanted to help usher in the fourth industrial revolution. And he wanted to bring in the Nazism here. That excited him, as a Nazi as Harry is. Of course, he wanted to be at the forefront of bringing in Nazism, worldwide, but specifically in America. So I think that's why he was very involved with the January 6th, and making himself pertinent to it, especially with his PR, wanting to say, I knew all about it. And the censorship, of course, is, the same back then, and the propaganda, the big lies, and all of that. So anyways, I highly recommend his book, and listen to his interviews. He explains it much better than I can. But back to the Duchess of Narsussex, she really hammered home this idea of the Nazi aspect of Harry and his Azov battalion that he's working with here. And I just want to I think that's the real reason they harassed her and tried to get her to kill herself. As TRG has pointed out, they were calling the police and trying to reports on her, try to go, just like they did to Yankee Wally. So I'm thinking this is the aspect. They don't like people pointing out that Harry is working with Nazis, and this whole thing. I mean, exposing that aspect of this. So let's see. Is that why they took down her channel, Duchess of Narsussex? Is it because she was pointing out the fact that Harry and Meghan are working with the Nazis? The globalists are Nazis. They're the same exact people. Remember, after Germany fell, I mean, they did try to take over America too. They did try to take over the country, but it failed. So then they went to a war with Germany, and then they brought the Nazi scientists and Operation Paperclip to the U.S. So these are literally all the same descendants of the same people, same families involved. So is that why they took down Duchess of Narsussex's account? Is it because she was reaffirming and pointing out the Nazi aspect of Prince Harry and his group with the Ukraine and all that? Criminals. The criminals took her out. Of course, they were very evil and criminal organization that Harry's with the Sussex Squad and the Invictus. And a separation here, causing pain and suffering, separating her from her channel, taking her down. So it's these criminals. And Harry, I take this as a Prince Harry card, King of Wands reversed, because he is always trying to using and abusing the PR and grabbing the microphone, grabbing his microphone just like his wife with the blah 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 speech. So yeah, I do get that the criminals around the Nazis. Unfortunately, I don't have a Nazi card, but you can get the idea that he is with his group was taking her down and trying to get her to kill herself. Yeah, because she was coming out and speaking about it, and she was saying, hey, he's a Nazi, look out for this one. And they didn't want her making money off of it, and they wanted her to off herself. Yeah, they wanted to harm her and make her go crazy. They wanted to push her over the edge. They were really trying to do that. They thought they could manage it. They thought they could push her over the edge. Yeah, that one fell face down. But it didn't work. But hopefully she will be back soon. So there you have it. Yeah, they silenced her for sure. And hopefully she'll be back soon. But there you have it. There's definitely a Nazi angle here that does need more investigation, as well as the Jeffrey Epstein. But the Nazis are very much a part of this, and are the same people involved. And this whole New World Order is the Fourth Reich, and it is all the same Nazis using the same exact techniques. So anyways, I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.